Welcome to FOSA. I'm Isha.
And I'm Sophie.
Today we are going to discuss a very important issue, and that is child marriage. Child marriage in 2017 in United States. All of these years, in the last 4 years, we've been discussing child marriage globally, which is absolutely practiced all over the world. But to our knowledge, we came to know that child marriage is practiced right here in United States. And we are trying our level best to educate our audience as well as the government to make sure that child marriage should not be allowed here in United States in 2017. We have children as young as 12, 13-year-olds who are getting married, and the law does allow you, if the child is pregnant, to wed. But think about it, like I was questioned by some to explain why is it wrong to allow child marriage. So this is where I thought, why not produce a show and broadcast it to an audience to explain why child marriage should not be practiced. When the child who is 12 or 13 is not allowed to drive or drink or work, or if they do a crime is not prosecuted as an adult, then how would you allow that child to take the responsibility of marriage? So it's a child, that's why and we can also use this as a loophole for abusing these children. So this is a request and an education to the audience and to our government, to the people who are questioning that child marriage is dangerous for the health of the child. Even if a child at the age of 13 is pregnant, she's not completely matured enough to carry a baby. And later on, she will have health issues. Now, there was a time when our grandmothers were very young, 13, 12, and who have married. But those were different times. Those were different people. As we no longer ride horse and buggy, we do drive cars, or we even go up to electric cars. We do expect society to progress while protecting our little ones. To my attention, what I have received is in New Hampshire, they passed a bill this year that girls as young as 13-year-olds could marry, and boys as young as 14-year-old could have a child marriage. Now, a 13 and a 14-year-old should not wed in 2017. And if we don't put our foot down here in the United States and be the role model, we cannot save the world where they are dying of poverty and selling their girls off to marriage under the legal term that they'll be safe and they're with their husbands, when we know that rape is imminent. We don't say that all child marriages are in the wrong, it's a crime, but yet we know the majority of them does not function. That's my concern to stop child marriage.
Definitely. If they cannot vote, then they should not be allowed to marry. And all the other points that you pointed out, it's very important. Because really, if you are not giving them the legal right to vote, because you are not fully developed, you don't know you're still learning. And I don't see how anybody can say that it's okay for a child to get married. I understand, like in certain circumstances, but if they fall in love or whatever the case might be, you should wait till you are of legal age. 18 should be the legal age. Because as you said, like the child is, you're 12, you're 13-year-old, you're a teenager. How can someone pass a law saying that's okay? That really, it's kind of very disturbing in 2017. It's
Absolutely.
disturbing to know that that's happening.
And Maryland and New York, where 3,853 minors were married between 2000 and 2010, as per State Department. In Virginia, which is in the East Coast, in United States, itself, according to the state health statistics, more than 4,500 minors were married between 2000 and 2013, including about 220 who were 15 or younger. This is absolutely something, it's criminal. It's absolutely a crime. I do not understand that how can anybody even consent to this kind of a bill that they would like to pass child marriage like it has passed in New Hampshire.
I was really shocked when you did tell me that in New Hampshire that they passed that this kind of law. Like, what in right senses would you do that? Like, if you can't, your kid cannot drive at 12 years old. You need permission from your parents to go out on an outing with the school. You need permission. Why would they do something like that when the kid is not even fully developed physically or mentally? Because you're not, and that's why we do have age limits, because we know as you do mature through your maturity, through your age, that you can make some sense, and then get married. Nobody's stopping you to get married, but making it a law, I think it's shocking.
Really also that we do stand for love, any kind of love. So a platform of love is marriage. So we are all for love, but you do have to wait until the age of 18 to get married. And that is exactly, we are requesting everyone to abide by that rule, or you can say by that thought that children should not be married. They should be educated. Now see, if a child gets married, then what happens? There is trafficking because she obviously is raped, or she does not know how to converse with her partner who is much older, and so there comes the domestic violence. So one child marriage continues with human trafficking, slavery, and domestic violence, death, because such children get beaten, and lots of bad things can happen. Secondly, I think that when you're a child and you're getting married that early, you're uneducated. Now, what should we do with the girls and the boys that have already had these child marriages? So what we can do is start vocational trainings or some kind of a trade that these children or these young women and men can start learning so that they can fend for themselves. In this country, we do not have the poverty that is globally, we have this poverty, but in this country, we, in spite of not having that kind of poverty, we still have an education, or else, how else can such laws be even considered? I think these children or these young women and young men, the corporates and the governments have to come up with vocational trainings and hiring. So unemployment is imminent if they are uneducated. And if we cannot do it here, we cannot do it anywhere in the world.
Definitely. As a leader, people look up to us, and if we can't do it right here, they'll say, what are you talking about? It happens in your country, so what are you talking about other third world countries? We don't have a leg to stand on if we cannot, make this, and we don't want to make this into law, like, you at 12 or 13 that you can marry. Because what do we say to other people to get them educated, to get them, because it is like a vicious circle, because when you're not educated and you have a kid, and now you have to fend for the kid, you have to fend for your husband, or the husband has to fend for him, and he gets, because it is like, you're still young, you want to go out and play, you want to go out and do stuff. It's not a time to be responsible for another little person, like little kid. It's really heart-wrenching to think that this is fine. I don't understand this day and age how a law like this can be passed.
And just today, right here in Quincy, Massachusetts, I was watching a girl who has her high school education, yet she lives with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend, for some reason, has broken up with her, and she's out of her house now. She doesn't have a place to live. and she is practically in the rain walking around to find a shelter where she can do her some kind of paperwork or something, and she found a place that she sat down where she was completing some of her paperwork. And someone has informed me that there are girls like this who stay until these stores are open 9 p.m. and then they find a place to sleep right here in Massachusetts. It has come to my attention that these girls they have to fend for themselves. They are given drugs. They are sex slaved, and yet they are girls of this land. They are our daughters of this land. And so my request is, when somebody had questioned me that if the third world countries didn't exist, and then we would not have the human trafficking, or we would not have the slavery. That's not true, because I used to think that way, and that's why we started our show, thinking about the globe, thinking about the third world countries, protecting the immigrant women who are in this country and the young girls. But guess what? To my knowledge, it has come that today it's the girls of United States that are trafficked, that are homeless, and that are suffering. So if we cannot protect them, if they cannot provide employment to them, how can we even think of a child marriage? What would happen to this child if that husband of hers was to push her out of the home at 15? Where will she go?
Because she's probably run away anyway from her parents, because for some reason, she couldn't get along with them, and she gets into a marriage, it fails. So where is she now? Now she is on drugs, she starts taking drugs and stuff, and people take advantage of that, and that's how sex trafficking goes on. Because then, you're trying to take drugs to don't think about your problems, and it just, escalates. And that's not what we want for our kids, and we want to help them out as much as we can. And it's sad to think that, at 12, 13, you're just a child. For God's sake, you're just a little kid. You need to grow up. You need to have, you need to go out and seek. And as you said, education. If they don't get educated, it's just a rut that you get in. Yeah, it is.
And all of this time, in the last 3 years, we have tried to protect women. We have tried to voice women's issue. We have tried to protect children, voice the child's issue. But we always thought of the world, because right here in Quincy, Massachusetts, it's a small little world that we serve. But while serving the small little world, we realized mainstream is suffering heavily. And that's when last June, when we had the huge human trafficking conference right here in Quincy, we both educated ourselves to say that we have to serve our mainstream first, and then our population or the people around the globe will understand that we have to protect our own first. And so it's my firm request to all the people as well as all the governments, as I always said, if one of you voice this, that we will not have child marriage in this state or in this country, I am sure the other governments will hear the same and follow this link. So we make a link and stand against child marriage, which in turn stands against human trafficking, which in turn stands against slavery, and which in turn stands against domestic violence. We are all one link related, and it starts to stop child marriage. The minute you stop there, slavery stops. But we have to take a strong stand, and it's my request to join us that right here in the United States, we cannot allow any states to pass this bill on child marriage. It has to be 18. You have to be 18 to get married.
I completely agree. It has to be, and I'm really, I think we both were really shocked to hear that, you can get married before, because it's such an abuse. It really is an abuse of you're abusing your kids, really, because they're really little kids, and they need to have a stop to this. And if we can do this, then we can go to other places globally, because it is a global issue. But it is, first we take baby steps and have it done right here. Then we can go to other countries and say, educate them and make them aware, like, children are important. They need to have their childhood. Childhood is a very important part of growing up. If you don't have that, then you can't make decisions later on in your life, because this is a learning part. When we are growing up, it's a learning that we are doing. And if you don't have that, then you are going to be in trouble.
It's the formative years of anybody's life. Just like when you build a house, at the what do you build? The first floor, it has to be really strong. The basement has to be really strong. Similarly, these are the formative years of anybody's life. A child should play, a child should laugh, and a child should educate so that it grows to make decisions. It's ambitious. It's quite possible that countries where it's war-torn, poverty, displacement of refugees, it's normal to lose your childhood. And before we start fighting for those countries, those people, those children, we realize that we should fight for our own right here in United States. The origin of this show started trying to help the immigrant women and immigrant children and the immigrant girls and the domestic violence of all over the world living here in Quincy. Instead, we moved because we saw what we saw during our shows, that we here need help. And child marriage I think it was beginning of this year when we realized that New Hampshire passed the bill.
Yeah.
When I sent you the
Couple of months ago,
it shocked me. And that's when I said we need to do a show which is child marriage in United States, not global. So I hope you are educated and you will join us in our voice to stop child marriage in United States and pass no bills that allow child marriage and be the age of wed to be 18.
Absolutely, because we can't blame it on other people. We can't blame it on other people's cultures or traditions. Or, we have to take a stand for what we believe in, and we believe that child marriage should not be.
And this is our stand from FOSA. Both Soph and me are against child marriage, and we request child marriage not to pass. Age of wedding should be 18. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the show. See you next time. I'm Isha.
And I'm Sophie. Thank you.